So, first off, I want to say thank you for coming in and talking to me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you some questions that just give me an idea of where you're at with being physically active. So, how would you describe your day-to-day life?
Fairly active, with the exception of recently because of a surgery. But typically, I would take my son Axton to school and then go straight to the gym from there. So typically 5 days a week. So I work out from like just about 9 o'clock ish. Usually do half an hour of cardio just to warm up, and that kind of sets my mood for my workouts, and then I can kind of decide exactly what exercises I want to do, and then I'll start my workout. And typically I like to do weights for about an hour, so my whole workouts are about an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending. Leg days are bigger, right? So those end up being about 2 hours. And then go home, have lunch, and do whatever I need to do during the day, and then pick up Axton, and then take him to his sporting activities. It's kind of my day.
So, how long do you think you're doing sedimentary behavior? So, basically, sitting.
Well, right now is a little bit more, but typically, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm going to school, then a lot more. That would be like 5 to 6 hours a day in front of a computer. Still holding on to that same schedule, but then, after I put Axton to bed, between 8 and midnight, I'm usually sitting down in front of a computer, and then I'll usually do 2 hours of work during the day on a computer. So yeah, between 4 and 6 hours.
Okay.
Sorry, 2 to 6 hours. Yeah.
So would you say that having a kid is like not like having barriers, but it takes up a lot of your time? So you're not as able to do physical activity, like get to the gym?
No, actually, I've never found that to be a problem. If I have scheduling conflicts because of his activities, I'll go to the gym after I put him to bed. So I'll put him down to bed at 8 o'clock, and I'll go to the gym at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. And actually, I like those 2 times of the day, like first thing in the morning and then late at night, because usually the gym's pretty quiet, right?
Yeah.
Not nearly as full as like people at noon. It's like packed in there, and then right before dinner it's packed in there, and then it kind of goes until like 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock that it's really, really packed. So then it starts dropping off, and then it gets it's good. It's good.
Yeah. So would you ever be interested in like increasing your physical activity, or?
Oh yeah, there's always room for more physical activity, right? Or wanting to do more physical activity. I tend to do other things too, other than doing the gym too, right? Like mountain biking or fat biking, cross country skiing. I do a lot of other supplementary type exercises. So, and that's more just based on what's going on outside and if I have the time, right? So, yeah. And I don't let winter get in my way. Like I said, fat biking or cross country skiing or downhill skiing, right?
Yeah. So how important would you say physical activity is to you?
Extremely important.
Out of like 1 to 10, like 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest.
It has to be 10.
Okay.
Especially with my profession, it's being a firefighter. It's it's everything, right? So. When we sign our name on the dotted line, that's a commitment to fitness for our entire life, right? It's not really possible for us to become sedentary because of the physical demands of our job. If we do become sedentary, we see the results of that, where people have reduced performance, cardiac issues, those types of things, right? So it's not really an option for me to be to have a reduction in fitness, and it's super important, right? So and then at work they also support all that too with peer fitness trainers and gyms in all of our work locations. So even being at work is not an excuse for me, right? I actually have a bit of a benchmark for myself. So if I'm working day shifts, the very first thing I do is I go straight into the gym. I put my gear on the truck, I go straight into the gym, and I do my workout first thing in the morning, right? And I've only missed 4 workouts in my 15-year career. That was because of myself, right? Sometimes the job takes over, and then I'll miss my morning workout. But there's only been 4 that have been kind of like because of me, right? Yeah.
Do you think that like importance number could ever go down? Like, what do you think that could make you?
Yeah, so when I'm going to school, that it tends to change a little bit my priority, because I just have my time management becomes a bit of an issue, right?
Yeah.
So I might not have the same amount of time to dedicate to the gym, right? So I still get my workouts at the fire hall, but on my own, those workouts tend to get abbreviated, right? So, and a lot of the abbreviation is because of what's going on in my mind, right? So I'll be thinking about school, so I won't necessarily have as much intensity in my workout, right?
So would you say that your like physical activity is your part of your life, and that's mainly your goal in life is to
Yeah, it has to be
being physical activity?
Yeah, it has to be. Again, with my job, if and my priorities have changed with working out too, right? So when I was younger, it was all about being able to lift the beach over my head, right? And now it's being able to making sure I have longevity in life, right? So I don't lift nearly as heavy as I used to. Now I focus more on cardiovascular health, pulmonary health, strengthening, or stretching, agility, those types of things, right? So, yeah, more functional workouts as well. So a lot more compound movements and other than isolation movements. So I do a lot more twisting in my whole body around, right? So
so more like transverse movements instead of like sagittal and frontal movements, because I know a lot of like people, they only do certain movements, like certain like sagittal workout movements, and then you're not getting the transverse, and you're stuck in this one position.
And I change my workouts a lot. Like I don't usually do the same exercises. Like if I'm doing leg days, I'll change my leg days. I try to do 2 leg days a week, because my legs are really, really important to work. So like, I'll have a heavy leg day usually on Mondays, International Chest Day. You always have leg equipment open on Mondays, right? So, I'll do heavy legs on Mondays, and then on Fridays I'll do, other completely different workout, right? But week over week, I typically don't do the same exercises one week to the next week, right? I'll like switch it up, with the exception of like leg extensions, because I have a knee injury. So the leg extensions really help to loosen up the synovial fluid in my joints, and helps me get my knees moving and ready for my workout, right?
Yeah. Would you say that your injuries definitely like slow down your physical activity?
Yeah, like my knee injury has prevented me from running. Like I can't run anymore. Like the surgeon outright said, "Do not run." Right.
Yeah.
So and then because of the severity of that injury, like I physically cannot run anymore. Right. So it's that, and that used to be a really big thing for me. I used to do a lot of distance running, and then a lot of sprints as well. But now I can't. So I just changed my preferred method of cardio, right? So now I'll do a lot more spin biking, mountain biking, like I said, if I'm not in the gym, fat biking. I do like the elliptical machine a lot because I'm still kind of getting that motion of running, and which really helps increase my heart rate really quickly, and I like having a higher heart rate. So I like the elliptical machine, and then I also like a stair machine as well, or stair type machines, right? The stair climbers, those types of things, because that's a big part of my job is climbing stairs, right? So, yeah.
So would you mind like making a goal, like a SMART goal, so something that's specific, something that's measurable, something that's attainable, and something that's relevant in time management? So what do you think can, like, a goal for you? Well, maybe not now because you are injured, but
well, that is going to be my next focus, right? Is goals surrounding the rehabilitation of my injury, right? So my ankle injuries, once I come out of the cast, it's going to be pretty intense physiotherapy, but it'll be getting the range of motions back, appropriate range of motions, not the negative ones that caused the ankle injury to begin with, but getting the strength back in my, overall in my foot, my ankle, my calf, and then making sure that both sides of my body are kind of equal in strength, right? Because obviously I'm not using this leg as much, so I'll need to make sure that it's performing it fairly close to the same as the leg that is still functioning, right?
So something that's working on your ankle, like strengthening your ankle, what do you think something that you can do to help you achieve that? What do you think that's like? Do you think there's like a specific type of activity that you would like do, or different like?
I think it'll end up being a lot of plyometrics, right? So a lot of jumping, forward, side to side. I think that'll be, probably the biggest component, because it also helps with agility, strengthening, and that range of motion, right? So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a lot more plyo, but I'll have to have that discussion with a physiotherapist, and then my physiotherapy clinic hands us off. Once the physiotherapist sees us, they hand us off to a kinesiologist, and the kinesiologist plans our workouts for that, right?
Okay, well, thank you. I got a little sense of like your history and previous physical activity. So you would say that you're pretty active, and you plan on being pretty active, continuing in your life. And you like going to the gym, and getting to work on getting your ankle back to
that's gonna be a big focus.
Well, thanks for coming in to talk to me.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.
No problem.